all for coming this evening. We wanted to schedule this presentation as close as possible to the submission of our zoning challenge at the DOB because we needed to share this with the community and this particular set of design details that enable a building of this height to be constructed so closely. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? All right. We wanted to share this presentation as close as possible to the submission of the DOB challenge to share with the community these particular design details that enable a building of this height to be constructed so close to Central Park. This project, of course, is similar to other talls and almost super talls that exploit non-specific language in the New York City building and zoning resolution. Each time we see a new design, we see something different that is challenging what we used to consider as a right, removing predictability and disturbing character and stability of neighborhoods. By each project, we learn more about what the codes do not regulate. We're very happy this evening to have so many of our electeds here to say a few words, and of course, George James, who we could not have learned as much as we have in the last year about how to exploit codes. So tonight we have only a few requests. We ask that you hold your questions, your comments, your frustrations, etc. until after Mr. James has finished his presentation. There may be some interruptions as electeds come throughout this evening because they have limited schedules and we want to fit as many of them in as possible. I know you will want to hear from them because they are your first line of defense to make sure you write letters to every single elected in this city. And if you're not called on for a question, there are cards. If you leave towards the end of the evening, please fill it out, put your question on that card, and we will answer it and it will be on our website. We don't want anyone to feel that they're not part of this important community process. Change in this town happens because of all of us. So with that, I'm turning the mic over to our Executive Director, Sean Corsendi.
Thank you, Paige. As Paige mentioned, we're with Landmark West, your street smart, turn on a dime grassroots, good government organization for the Upper West Side. For those of you who may not be familiar with us, we cover 59th Street to 110th, scenic landmark Riverside Park on the west, to scenic landmark Riverside Central Park to the east. So help yourself to a map. Slower, I can do that. We began 33 years ago to increase landmarking and historic district protections within our district, and those continue today. But we also support community interests and appropriate development as our metropolis evolves and grows to meet the needs of 8.5 million documented New Yorkers. We have a lot of ground to cover tonight, and I'll be as efficient as possible. We also have many people to thank. We're here tonight and able to enjoy this 115-year-old Shingle and Ditmars neo-Gothic landmark by the graciousness of Pastor Will Miller, who's at the back of the church. And it's important tonight to note that we're here in the interest of community involvement. Although most Upper West Side developments go before the community board, this proposal declined its invitation, so that makes tonight its first public forum. Our partners at 10 West 66th Street Corporation joined us in retaining George James to examine filing documents, their validity, and prepare a zoning challenge if it was needed. It is. We're also grateful to our city electeds, some of whom you will hear from this evening. Our Manhattan Borough President, Gail Brewer, and her staff, especially Lizette, Mary, and James, along with our City Council Representative, Helen Rosenthal, and her staff, especially Sean, Ned, and Marissa. We also have support from our state electeds, Assemblymember Richard Gottfried, and thank his colleagues Alec and Reese, as well as Senator Brad Hoylman and his colleagues Elena and Eli. At a finer granular level, our community partners at Save Central Park, NYC, the West 65th 66th Street Block Association, and our colleagues, friends of the Upper East Side Historic Districts, have also been instrumental in their support and in working with us during much of this long journey. After all, it bears repeating, we would still not be here tonight without the astute work of George James, and of course you, the neighbors and fellow New Yorkers. I'll be up to speak more in a moment about why we joined, but we have electeds here, and I'd like to offer the podium to our District 6 Council Member Helen Rosenthal.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you, Pastor, for getting me up the stairs. Appreciate you. I want to thank you all for being here. I'm looking around and I'm seeing a lot of stickers, so you took care of business before coming today. Thank you for that. I especially want to thank Paige Cowley and Sean Corsandi of Landmarks West and John Waldies from 10 West 66th Street for making this event happen and for their partnership on this challenge. My soon-to-depart, sadly, Legislative Director and Land Use Policy Director, Sean Fitzpatrick, deserves a huge round of applause. He's been working on this for 2 years. Let me also, as everyone will tonight, especially thank the wonderful George James, who's been the hero of the Upper West Side over the last 4 years. He's been such a great partner, not just on this issue, but of course at 200 Amsterdam, and really on land use issues citywide. I'm going to leave the technical explanation of the challenge to George, but I want to take a moment to talk through the timeline of how we got here. Did everyone get the handout at the front? Okay, so if you could look through that, that's what I'm going to be talking about. Extel first filed their plans for this site all the way back in December 2015. And for almost 2 years, they insisted they were going to build a 25-story building, largely in line with the other buildings on the block, even putting up renderings and starting construction. Look, all of us knew better, right? We suspected, and in June of last year, I publicly called for Extel to drop the charade and come clean with their plans. And in November of 2017, they finally announced their true intention to build a 775-foot tall tower. I immediately condemned this bait and switch and announced my opposition to this project and started to research how we could stop it. Again, when I say I mean Sean. And as I said, I'm going to leave this technical explanation to George, but let me say this. From the instant that the plans were announced, I have been hard at work to find a strategy to fight them. My staff and the staff of the City Council Land Use Division have pored over every document and have examined every single angle. And in doing so, we were able to develop one of the key bases for the challenge, that this proposal relies on an interpretation of the zoning, George will explain this better, that is the opposite of what was intended when this community adopted the special Lincoln Square district. George was able to refine this argument, add additional ones, and in doing so has crafted a challenge that is quite broad and very detailed. And that brings us to this week. On behalf of Landmarks West and 10 West 66th Street, and with the support of myself and other elected representatives, we officially challenge this proposal with the Department of Buildings. It's a monumentous step. It was so important that a project like this not go unchallenged. It takes advantage of existing loopholes, and the developer is doing his best to create some new and it breaks these rules in service of an ultra-luxury tall tower that does not serve any public policy good. In the middle of a housing crisis, this project would include just 127 apartments, standing 775 feet tall. And so I'm grateful to you, and I'm grateful to everyone that we're here tonight, not just so we can all get informed about this project, but so we can get and stay engaged on the need to push for more responsible development citywide. I'm with you tonight, and I'm going to be with you throughout this fight. Thank you very much.
Next speaker is our co-signer on our zoning challenge, John Waldes, the co-op president at Part 10.
John, please. Sorry. I'm president of the co-op Part 10, and as you may have heard, we have jointly partnered and funded with the landmark West challenge to the building next door. Why did we do this? We had two reasons for doing this. One is we didn't want as our neighbor an enormous tower, which it turns out actually has some safety issues with it, which we of course didn't know when we first looked at it. Secondly, we wanted to join our voice to those all New Yorkers who want to have a human scale development for the city. And that's an important aspect of why we did this. Neighboring building issues, of course, since we're next door, we have a fire department's issue with a 161-foot void. How do you get people out of an elevator? How does a fire propagate if it starts in the void? How will the fire be fought in a void of that size? So these are issues which, of course, are a much more immediate concern than the simple height of the tower. Then the building is out of scale for the neighborhood. It's 200 feet taller than the tallest building in this district. Only 127 apartments, as Helen said. This is, we already have 250 in our tiny little building next door. How does this help the housing crisis? And finally, we have other issues because we're next door. Are the voids going to be lighted? If you look at 432 Park, all night long, the mechanical floors are lighted. What's going to happen to the noise from the mechanical equipment in the void? It's too close. Is there going to be acoustic resonances which amplify the noise that might be produced in the void? We don't know anything about any of this, but as neighbors, we are concerned. We then move to the human scale development, where we are very interested in having a plan that would be like the 1811 Commissioner's Plan for the city grid. We challenge the state and city urban planners to come up with a plan that when we look back, when we don't look back, but when people look back in 200 years, they say this is the plan which kept New York being successful over this period of time. Thank you.
Hello again. To bookend, John briefly described why Landmark West got involved in this challenge. It's simply put, it doesn't need to be this way. As I've often cited, the Upper West Side is the second densest neighborhood in America. If realized as proposed, this development will have a direct impact on our namesake historic district as well as Central Park scenic landmark. It also stands to set precedent and recast long-accepted interpretations of the zoning resolution. At 127 units across 39 floors, but equivalent to a 77-story building in height, this is a gross understatement to say that this is simply not what was planned. Not generically from city planning's expectations of tower on great base scenarios, nor specifically as the rules were written for the specific special Lincoln Square district, fully within the boundaries of which this plot is cited. When the text was reviewed in 1993, the City Planning Commission notes, planned for buildings ranging from the mid-20s to 30 stories in height, and this was in the context of coincident conversations of a 275-foot height limit. Unlike 220 Central Park South, the Nordstrom Tower south of it, the Steinway Tower, which just became super tall status this week, 157 or 432 Park Avenue, this development is in a residential neighborhood, not Billionaires Row. While developers and planners take no parallel Hippocratic oath that a doctor would, there are wide-held beliefs that taller buildings belong on wider streets and avenues, not mid-block, as the case is here. This manifestation is the opposite of predictable planning, and it has the potential to affect the quality of life in the most basic sense, for fire and life safety. Not only does this development seek to bogart light, air, and shared views of Central Park, it makes extraneous demands of our shared resources, services, and infrastructure over the course of an equivalent 16-story shaft void and an equivalent 5-story crown void. It simply doesn't have to be this way. For better or worse, we're not alone. Next, I'd like to introduce my colleague from across the park, the Executive Director of Friends of the Upper East Side Historic Districts, Rachel Beebe.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Sean, for having me. I'm Rachel Beebe. I'm the Executive Director at Friends of the Upper East Side Historic Districts. And I'm happy to be here representing your neighbors to the east, where unfortunately we are dealing with the very same challenges as you are here on the west side. For those of you who may not know, for 35 years, Friends has been the leading voice for the preservation of the architectural legacy and sense of place of the Upper East Side. We're a voice for common sense development and smart preservation across the neighborhood. In addition to our work as stewards of the Upper East Side's landmarks and historic districts, Friends has become particularly focused on the eastern portions of our neighborhood, especially Yorkville, that are most vulnerable to out-of-scale development. And in addition to the market forces and construction trends impacting development, on the east side you have the added pressure of the new 2nd Avenue subway. While it has been an undeniable boon in terms of accessibility to the neighborhood, at the same time the subway has practically paved the way for greater development in our area. The cumulative impact of which threatens our light and air, with associated strains on our schools, parks, open space, small business retention, and the very quality of life that makes our residential neighborhoods attractive in the first place. And as you know, most of the super tall buildings popping up in residential neighborhoods share several characteristics. They prioritize height above all else, even in tower-on-base zoning districts like we have on both the Upper East and Upper West sides that were designed to produce a predictable and reasonable building form. But these projects bend and contort the zoning resolution beyond recognition, subverting its intent in the pursuit of ever taller buildings. That's how we've ended up with buildings that plainly violate common sense interpretation of zoning rules. They invent sham new zoning lots. They contain mechanical voids that serve no legitimate purpose beyond becoming stilts for the upper stories. And I know you'll hear more about this tonight, but they may even be dangerous from a fire safety perspective. And yet, the city's Department of Buildings continues to approve these projects. Like Landmark West and much of the Upper West Side, we are also proud to be working together with George Janes as our partner in both challenging these loophole-driven developments on a case-by-case basis. In our case, on the east side, on East 88th Street and East 62nd Street, among others, but also in calling on the Department of City Planning with the support of our elected officials, several of whom are here tonight, to act now. This is an issue that impacts all of us citywide in neighborhoods across the city, and we need the Department of City